I wake before the alarm. The house is cool and silent. I lift my hands from under the covers. They are normal. No lights, no glow. I lumber out of the bed and into the living room. Henry is at the kitchen table, reading the local newspaper and drinking coffee. "Good morning," he says. "How do you feel?" "Like $1,000,000, I say. I pour myself a bowl of cereal and sit across from him. "What are you going to do today?" I ask. "Errands, mostly. We're getting low on money. I'm thinking of putting in a transfer at the bank. Lorien is, or was, depending on how you look at it, a planet rich with natural resources. Some of those resources were precious gems and metals. When we left, each Saipan was given a sack full of diamonds, emeralds, and rubies to sell when we arrived on Earth. Henry did, and then deposited the money into an overseas bank account. I don't know how much there is, and I'll never ask. But I know it is enough to last us 10 lifetimes, if not more. Henry makes withdrawals from it once a year, give or take. I don't know, though," he continues. "I don't want to stray too far in case something else happens today. Not wanting to make a big deal of yesterday, I wave the notion away. I'll be fine. Go get paid." I look out the window. Dawn is breaking, casting a pale light over everything. The truck is covered with dew. It's been a while since we've been through winter. I don't think I even own a jacket, and have outgrown most of my sweaters. "It looks cold out," I say. "Maybe we can go clothes shopping soon?" He nods. "I was thinking about that last night, which is why I need to go to the bank." "Then go," I say. "Nothing is going to happen today." I finish the bowl of cereal and drop the dirty dish into the sink, and jump into the shower. 10 minutes later, I'm dressed in a pair of jeans and a black thermal shirt, and sleeves pulled down to my elbows. I look in the mirror and down at my hands. I feel calm. I need to stay that way. On the way to school, Henry hands me a pair of gloves. "Make sure you keep these with you at all times. You never know." I tuck them into my back pocket. I shouldn't need them. I feel pretty good. At school, buses are lined up in front. Henry pulls to the side of the building. "I don't like you not having a phone," he says. "Any number of things could go wrong." "Don't worry, I'll have it back soon." He sighs and shakes his head. "Don't do anything stupid. I'll be right here at the end of the day." "I won't," I say, and get out of the truck. He pulls away. Inside, the halls are bustling with activity. Students loitering at lockers, talking, laughing. A few look at me and whisper. I don't know whether it's because of the confrontation or because of the dark room. It's like they are already whispering about both. It is a small school, and in small schools, there is little that isn't readily known by everyone else. When I reach the main entrance, I turn right and find my locker. It's empty. I have 15 minutes before sophomore composition begins. I walk by the classroom, just to make sure I know where it is, and then head to the office. The secretary smiles when I enter. "Hi," I say. "I lost my phone yesterday, and I was wondering if anyone turned it into Lost and Found." She shakes her head. "No, I'm afraid no phone's been turned in." "Thank you," I say. Out in the hallway, I don't see Mark anywhere. I pick a direction and begin walking. People still stare and whisper, but that doesn't bother me. I see him 50 feet ahead of me. All at once, the thrill of adrenaline kicks in. I look down at my hands. They're normal. I'm worried about them turning on, and that worry might just be the thing that does it. Mark's leaning against a locker, with his arms crossed in the middle of a group. Five guys and 2 girls, all of them talking and laughing. Sarah is sitting on a windowsill about 15 feet away. She looks radiant again today, with her blonde hair pulled into a ponytail, wearing a skirt and a gray sweater. She is reading a book, but looks up as I walk towards them. I stop just outside the group, stare at Mark, and wait. He notices me after about 5 seconds. "What do you want?" he asks. You know what I want. Our eyes stay locked. The crowd around us swells to 10 people, then 20. Sarah stands and walks to the edge of the crowd. Mark is wearing his Letterman jacket, and his black hair is carefully styled to look like he rolled straight out of bed and into his clothes. He pushes away from the locker and walks towards me. When he's inches away, he stops. Our chests nearly touch, and the spicy scent of cologne fills my nostrils. He's probably 6'1", a couple inches taller than I am. We have the same build. Little does he know what is inside of me is not what is inside of him. I am quicker than he is and far stronger. The thought brings a confident grin to my face. You think you can stay in school a little longer today, or are you going to run off again like a little bitch? Snickers spread throughout the crowd. Well, I guess we'll see, won't we? Yeah, I guess we will, he says, and moves even closer. I want my phone back, I say. I don't have your phone. I shake my head at him. There are 2 people who saw you take it, I lie. By the way his brow crinkles, I have guessed correctly. And what if it was me? What are you going to do? There are probably 30 people around us now. I have no doubt that the entire school will know that what has happened within 10 minutes of the start of the first period. You've been warned, I say. You have until the end of the day. I turn and leave. Or what? He yells behind me. I don't acknowledge it. Let him dwell on the answer. My fists have been clenched, and I realize I had mistaken adrenaline for nerves. Why was I so nervous? The unpredictability, the fact that this is the first time I've confronted somebody, the possibility of my hands going, probably all 3. I go to the bathroom and enter an empty stall, and latch the door behind me. I open my hands, a slight glow in the right one. I close my eyes and sigh, focus on breathing. I'm breathing slowly. A minute later, the glow is still there. I shake my head. I didn't think the legacy would be that sensitive. I stay in the stall. A thin layer of sweat covers my forehead. Both of my hands are warm, but thankfully the left is still normal. People filter in and out of the bathroom, and I stay in the stall, waiting. The light stays on. Finally, the first period bell rings and the bathroom is empty. I shake my head in disgust and accept the inevitable. I don't have my phone, and Henry is on his way to the bank. I'm alone with my own stupidity, and I have no one to blame but myself. I pull the gloves from my back pocket and slip them on. Leather gardening gloves. I couldn't look more foolish if I was wearing if I was wearing clown shoes with yellow pants. So much for blending in. I realize I have to stop with Mark. He wins. He can keep my phone. Henry and I will get a new one tonight. I leave the bathroom and walk the empty hallway to my classroom. Everybody stares at me when I enter. Then the gloves. There is no point in trying to hide them. I look like a fool. I'm an alien. I have extraordinary powers with more to come, and I can do things that no human would dream of. But I still look like a fool. I sit in the center of the room. Nobody says anything to me, and I'm too flustered to hear what the teacher says. When the bell rings, I gather my things, drop them into my bag, and pull the straps over my shoulder. I'm wearing the gloves. When I exit the room, I lift the cuff of the right one and peek at my palm. It's still glowing. I walk the hallway at a steady pace. Slow breathing. I try to clear my mind, but it isn't working. When I enter the classroom, Mark is sitting in the same spot as the day before, Sarah beside him. He sneers at me, trying to act cool. If he doesn't notice the gloves. What's up, runner? I heard the cross-country team is looking for new members. Don't be such a dick, Sarah says to him. I look at her as I pass, into her blue eyes that make me feel shy and self-conscious, that make my cheeks warm. The seat I sat in the day before is occupied, so I head to the very back. The class fills, and the kid from yesterday, the one who warned me about Mark, sits next to me. He's wearing another black t-shirt with the NASA logo in the center, army pants, and a pair of Nike tennis shoes. He has disheveled, sandy blonde hair, and his hazel eyes are magnified by his glasses. He pulls out a notepad filled with diagrams of constellations and planets. He looks at me and doesn't try to hide the fact that he is staring. How goes it? I ask. He shrugs. Why are you wearing gloves? I open my mouth to answer, but Miss Burton starts the class. During most of it, the guy beside me draws pictures that seem to be his interpretation of what Martians look like. Small bodies, big heads, hands, and eyes. The same stereotypical representations that are usually shown in movies. At the bottom of every drawing, he writes his name in small letters. Sam Good. I look away. He notices me watching, and I look away. Miss Burton lectures on how Saturn's 61 moons. I look at the back of Mark's head. He's hunched over his desk writing. Then he sits up and passes a note to Sarah. She flicks it back to him without reading it. It makes me smile. Miss Burton turns off the lights and starts a video. The rotating planets being projected on the screen at the front of the class make me think of Lorien. It is one of the 18 self-sustaining planets in the universe. Earth is another. Modagor, unfortunately, is another. Lorien, I close my eyes and allow myself to remember. An old planet, 100 times older than Earth. Every problem that Earth has now, pollution, overpopulation, global warming, food shortages, Lorien also had. At one point, 25,000 years ago, the planet began to die. This was long before the ability to travel through the universe, and the people of Lorien had to do something in order to survive. Slowly but surely, they made a commitment to ensure that the planet would forever remain self-sustaining by changing their way of life, doing away with everything harmful, guns and bombs, poisonous chemicals, pollutants, and over time, the damage began to reverse itself. With the benefit of evolution, over thousands of years, certain citizens, the Guard, developed powers in order to protect the planet and to help it. It was as though Lorien rewarded my ancestors for their foresight, for their respect. Miss Burton flicks the light on. I open my eyes and look at the clock. Class is almost over. I feel calm again, and had completely forgotten about my hands. I take a deep breath and flip open the cuff of my right glove. The light is off. I smile and remove both gloves. Back to normal. I have 6 periods left in the day. I have to remain at peace throughout all of them. The first half of the day passes without incident. I remain calm, and likewise, have no further encounters with Mark. At lunch, I fill my tray with the basics, then find an empty table at the back of the room. When I'm halfway through a slice of pizza, Sam Good, the kid from astronomy class, sits across from me. Are you really fighting Mark after school? He asks. I shake my head. No. That's what people are saying. They're wrong. He shrugs, keeps eating. A minute later, he asks, Where'd your gloves go? I took them off. My hands aren't cold anymore. He opens his mouth to respond, but a giant meatball, that I'm sure is aimed for me, comes out of nowhere and hits him in the back of the head. His hair and shoulders are covered with bits of meat and spaghetti sauce. Some of it has splattered onto me. While I start cleaning myself off, a second meatball flies through the air and hits me square on the cheek. Ooze filter throughout the cafeteria. I stand and wipe the side of my face with a napkin, anger coursing through me. In that instant, I don't care about my hands. They can shine as brightly as the sun, and Henry and I can leave this room and leave this afternoon if that's what it comes to. But there isn't a chance in hell I'm letting this slide. It was over after this morning, but not now. Don't, Sam says. If you fight them, they'll never leave you alone. I start walking. A hush falls over the cafeteria. 100 sets of eyes focus on me. My face twists into a scowl. 7 people are sitting at Mark James's table. All guys. All 7 of them stand as I approach. You got a problem? One of them asks me. He is big, but built like an offensive lineman. Patches of reddish hair grow on his cheeks and chin, as though he's trying to grow a beard. It makes his face look dirty. Like the rest of them, he's wearing a Letterman jacket. He crosses his arms and stands in the way. This doesn't concern you, I say. You'll have to go through me to get to him. I win if you don't get out of my way. I don't think you can, he says. I bring my knees straight to his crotch. His breath catches in his throat and he doubles over. The whole lunchroom gasps. I warned you, I say. I step over him and walk straight for Mark. Just as I reach him, I'm grabbed from behind. I turn with my hands clenched into fists, ready to swing, but the last second I realize it's the lunch attendant. That'll be enough, boys. Look what he just did to Kevin, Miss Johnson, Mark says. Kevin is still on the ground holding himself. His face is beet red. Send him to the principal. Shut up, James. All 4 of you are going. Don't think I didn't see you throw those meatballs. He says. And looks at Kevin still on the floor. Get up. Sam appears from nowhere. He has tried to wipe the mess from his hair and shoulders. The big pieces are gone, but the sauce has only smeared. I'm not sure why he's here. I look down at my hands, ready to flee at the first hint of light, but to my surprise, they're off. It was because of the urgency of the situation, allowing me to approach without preemptive nerves. I don't know. Kevin stands and looks at me. He is shaky, still having trouble breathing. He grips the shoulder of the guy beside him for support. You'll get yours, he says. I doubt it, I say. I'm still scowling and covered in food. To hell with wiping it away. The four of us walk to the principal's office. Mr. Harris is sitting behind his desk eating a microwavable lunch, a napkin tucked into the neck of his shirt. Sorry to interrupt. We just had a slight disturbance during lunch. I'm sure these boys will be happy to explain. The lunchroom attendant says. Miss Harris sighs, pulls a napkin from his shirt, and throws it in the trash. He pushes his lunch to the side of the desk with the back of his hand. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson leaves, closing the office door behind him, and the four of us sit. So who wants to start? The principal asks, irritation in his voice. I stay silent. The muscles in Mr. Harris's jaw are flexed. I look down at my hands, still off. I place them palms over my jeans just in case. After 10 seconds of silence, Mark starts. Somebody hit him with the meatball. He thinks it was me, so he need Kevin in the balls.